Welcome to our training session, Active Shooter on Campus. This recorded session is being provided as a follow-up to an early February session that I did for housing staff here at the University of the Cumberlands, and an early March session done with faculty and staff. This session was requested by Kyle Gilbert and is available as a follow-up to those live training sessions in order to allow others to participate. It is somewhat unfortunate that we have to have training sessions such as this, but it's a fact of life. And I've been called on to do several of these around the country in schools and also on colleges and universities campuses to help with the training issues. Now, this is a standard slide presentation, so what you see here is just a little information on me. It's not necessary for this presentation, but is information that I provide when I do go out and provide this in other places. This is also my contact information, and Kyle Gilbert has this, so if any of you all need to get in touch with me or have questions that I can provide answers to, hopefully, you can get in touch with me through Kyle or contact me directly. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security defines active shooter in this way. An active shooter is an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. So this kind of goes without saying. An active shooter uses firearms. There's no pattern or method to what they do, but it's a hard fact that so many of these situations happen on college campuses and in schools. In fact, 25% of these situations happen in colleges and schools, and for that reason it's important for all of us who work in that environment to know what's going on. Training objectives for today are outlined here on the screen. We're going to define various shooting situations. We're going to list some measures that you as employees can use to effectively deal with an active shooter situation. We're going to describe actions that can be expected from responding law enforcement because they may be a little different than what you and I might expect. And also talk about some safety tips related to all this. Our preparation objectives are these. We want to become masters of situational awareness. Now, when I say masters, of course, you can't do that in a short training session, but at least we can become aware. We want to talk about tactical decision making, and we want to talk about understanding our survival options and how to prepare our students, because we certainly have an obligation to our students to assist them in a difficult situation such as this. I have a short video for you I want to provide. It's produced by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in California, and it's a very good video. It'll give us a lot of answers to our questions, and I think a picture is certainly worth 1,000 words, and so I share this video with you. You give your attention to the screen. I think you'll gain a lot from this, and we'll pick up our discussion after the video has concluded.
A morning that began like any other turned tragic today when an employee opened fire on his supervisor and fellow coworkers.
Students, parents, teachers are asking why today, after a bloody rampage, plunged this campus into tragedy.
Details are just coming in, but we're being told that a heavily armed gunman opened fire this evening at the mall food court behind me. There's no official word on any casualties yet, but one eyewitness reported seeing at least 6 people shot.
Active shooter, a gunman or gunmen killing or attempting to kill people in a confined, populated area.
You gotta get some sleep. You're looking like a vampire.
You sleep. You ain't got no babies at home keeping you up.
What the hell? Them again.
We've tried. I'm sorry. We're going to have to let you go.
Active shooter killings are a tragic, unpredictable reality, and one that's becoming more common.
Since 2006, the U.S. has averaged an active shooter event with 4 or more deaths every 2.9 months.
Even though the number of active shooter events has been increasing, your odds of being involved in one are still very slim. But just like fire drills and earthquake preparedness, making a plan in advance can make all the difference.
Yeah, but lizards live in tanks. It's probably fine.
If you do find yourself in the middle of a senseless attack, the why doesn't matter.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, nothing's happening.
What matters is surviving.
On average, 20 mass shootings take place in the U.S. every year.
Killers usually choose their victims at random. They look for easy targets. So the harder you are to see or to hit, the safer you are. When an attack starts, if you can find a way out of the location, do so.
Get out.
If you stay calm and think clearly, even in the middle of a life and death event, you improve your chances of making it out. Visualize your movements in advance.
What are we gonna do?
Look at me. Get us down. Stay behind me. Stay down.
Use cover, something that will stop a bullet, and concealment, something that at least keeps you out of sight.
Attention South LA units, code 3 response needed regarding a 245 ESV 417. To the town center shopping mall. Suspects wearing a face mask, possible body armor.
Use any available means to get out, including emergency exits or windows. Most restaurants and retail locations will also have exits in the back, through kitchens or stock rooms. Even in the best cases, police are minutes, not seconds away. You must take action to protect yourself.
Okay, everybody stay calm. It's probably just a drill.
No, go back, go back.
Oh my God, come here.
If you can help others without putting yourself in unnecessary danger,
It's gonna be okay.
do
It's gonna
so.
be okay. What's your name?
Lori.
Molly? It's gonna be okay.
If you can't move safely to an exit, get to a room or a confined area you can lock down. Then secure the location.
Secure your location.
Oh my God.
There's somebody shooting.
Everybody stay calm. Remember how we train. Everybody get in this corner, away from the windows. Get the emergency bag from my desk. Help her.
Drywall won't stop a bullet, but there are steps to take to stay safe. Lock or barricade the doors, turn off the lights, move away from any windows, and silence your cell phone.
The other door doesn't lock. Move desks or anything, just block it.
A modern emergency bag can include a first aid kit, gloves, emergency plans for the building, and casualty cards to alert first responders to any wounded victims.
Most active shooter situations are over in 10 to 15 minutes.
Attention Lakeville units, code 3 is needed. 245 GSV 417. It's going to be at Alexandria College. Multiple victims down.
Law enforcement's first responsibility when entering an active shooter situation is to stop the suspect, not to render aid to the victims. Medical teams will enter the scene as soon as the suspect is no longer a threat or is confirmed in another location. Silence any cell phones and remain quiet. Do not alert the shooter to your presence.
Sheriff's Department, is there anyone inside?
Red card.
Just hang tight. We'll be back to get you.
Defend yourself.
If you cannot escape the location and you can't shelter in place, you may have to defend yourself as a last resort. Almost anything can be turned into an improvised weapon. Look for something that can disrupt the shooter's ability to see, breathe, or control their weapon. When law enforcement arrives, they are going to be in a heightened state of readiness and awareness, looking for any aggressive movements. So keep your hands visible and follow any commands you are given.
Get the shooter.
What happened?
A shooter. I just saw one shooter.
Especially in developing situations, engaging law enforcement, running toward them, reaching for them, even to thank them, could put people at risk.
Surviving an active shooter. For more information,
Thank you.
visit activeshooter.lasd.org.
This is a good film, and I certainly want to commend it to you. It's available. But what I want to go now into is the history of shootings on campuses. We've had several of these, and of course some of the most famous ones are the Columbine killing, high school situation in Colorado. But the times, the actual dateline when colleges and universities actually got involved in this was 2007. With the Virginia Tech shooting, and we're all familiar with that. Here are some statistics. We can see that, of course, bottom line on this is active shooter incidents are certainly on the rise. And this graph here will show you just what we're talking about with the increase in active shooter incidents over the years. One of the things that I found very interesting is the fact that 25%, you can see on this pie chart, 25%, 24.5% of the instances that have taken place in schools, on school campuses. And that's a significant number when we consider the whole thing. Also, this backs that up. This talks about the increased number. It'll show you the number here, and you can see the bar on the right next to the one on the very right relates to school instances and just what that involves. And also the question, who is the active shooter? Basically, active shooters are male and they're young. So that's basically the population we see in our environments, colleges and universities and schools. Shooting situations are really divided into three basic categories. First of all, barricaded suspects. Secondly, hostage situations, and then active shooter. Now, the interesting thing about these usually progress one to the other, and any one of these, any one of the first two, can very quickly become an active shooter situation. Well, let's talk about barricaded suspects. Normally, a criminal suspect with known or unknown violent potential has barricaded themselves alone in their structure and refuses to surrender. A very difficult situation. In this situation, there is ample time for some planning and some negotiation as possible. The people involved are normally armed, and this has potential to transition into an active shooter or a hostage situation at any given time. The hostage situation, similar to the barricaded situation, with the addition of innocent people being held against their will. Again, this provides some time for detailed planning and some negotiation and can develop into an active shooter situation pretty quickly. The active shooter situation is where we have, again back to the definition, one or more individuals involved in this, and police are responding to the scene. These individuals are actively killing or injuring people. The threat is not contained, and it is a risk. It's an immediate risk of death and injury to others. It's considered the greatest threat on campuses, the active shooter situation, because it leaves little or no time for any proper planning and no time for negotiation, and requires law enforcement to take some kind of immediate action to keep the situation from escalating. These situations can develop the other way too. They can develop into hostage situations when law enforcement arrives. And the interesting thing about all of this, active shooter situations, usually the perpetrators do not have an exit strategy, so to speak. So when we think about the mentality of the active shooter, their desire is to kill or injure. They are searching out victims at random in most cases. They take on targets of opportunity. So anyone in the wrong place at the wrong time can immediately become a victim. It will continue to move throughout the building and throughout the area until it's stopped. And this next to last bullet point, shooters in this situation, their mentality is not to escape. The goal is to kill and to injure, and there's no exit strategy involved. So, bottom line is there is no typical profile for an active shooter. If we have an active shooter in a classroom or an office, that's a difficult situation. They're all difficult, but this is difficult because if you're in a classroom or office, our only recourse is really to stay there and to secure ourselves. If the door has no lock, we need to block it in some way, just as we saw in the film. And if the door has a window, we need to try to cover that because we take away a line of sight, the line of sight of the shooter, and they do not have targets then when they cannot see. For the same reason, we turn off the lights, we silence our phones, and we make sure that we are as invisible, or at least, if not invisible, difficult to see, because if we can't be seen, we can't be shot. So we need to make sure we're securing the area in all those ways. And we need to make sure that we are at least trying to get people to safety. So the last bullet point says have someone watch, have a lookout, while you're attempting to get as many students out a window, if we're on a ground floor, as calmly and as quietly as possible. This is the whole idea of running. We run, we hide, we fight if necessary. To continue, we need to have those who get out move quickly toward the police and make sure that they approach them in the right way, keeping their hands up and being aware of the fact that the police are pretty involved and engaged at this point, so any false move could turn into a tragedy. We need to make sure that they know we are unarmed and are not going to cause them any harm. If no police units are there on the scene, we need to move away from the building to covered positions, hopefully not in open areas like parking lots, and wait for the police to arrive. And if we're in a situation where windows don't open, we can't break them, and we're on the ground floor, or we're not on the ground floor, we need to get out of sight from the door, stay low, and stay quiet, and try to keep others as calm and as quiet as possible. That's easier said than done. obviously. In a hallway, if we're caught in a hallway, we need to move into a room that's not already secured and then secure it. Unless you're close to an exit, don't run through a long hallway and expose yourself to potential gunfire. We need to make sure that we take as much cover as possible. And above all, don't hide in restrooms. This is kind of obvious. That's one of the first places to look, and you're kind of trapped when you're in a restroom. There's an entrance, only one entrance and one exit in most cases. In a large room like a gym or an auditorium or a theater, we need to make sure that if we're in a situation where the gunmen are not present, move to an area where we can get closer to some external exits and move toward any police units that we see. Again, we need to keep our hands on our heads, keep them visible, and wait for the police to tell us what to do. One interesting thing is police are not there to provide first responder type support, first aid, or anything else. They are there to neutralize the threat. So we need to make sure that we respond to them accordingly. If we're trapped with a gunman, we've got a real problem here. We don't want to do anything to provoke the shooter. We want to be as cooperative as possible within reason. And if they are not shooting, we need to do what they say. Don't move suddenly. Again, don't do anything that can draw attention to ourselves. And if we are in a situation like that, our focus should be on preserving our lives and certainly the lives of others. So don't draw a line on what you'll do. Don't make demands, that type of thing. And I think that only is common sense. If shooting starts, you need to make your own choices. Stay still, hope they don't shoot you, run to an exit, run in a zigzagging pattern, or, again, back to the fight idea, attack the shooter. Now, this is not recommended, but we may be in a situation where we have no other options, so we may have to do that. We need to contact emergency personnel. Of course, 911 is your first contact source there, your first line of contact. Here on campus at the University of the Cumberlands, our campus security is 539-4444, or on a local phone, a campus phone, just 4444. And what do you report? You need to report your location. You need to report the number of people in your location, any injuries, and as much as you can, much information as you can give them about the assailant, such as location, number of perpetrators, race, gender, clothing color, physical features, type of weapon, backpack, have you heard explosions, that type of thing. Now, that's kind of difficult to do when we're under the gun, so to speak, but we need to be as observant and report as much as we can. Now, our roles and responsibilities. If an incident occurs on campus, local police officers, and we have worked with Williamsburg Police Department, the Williamsburg Police Department, the local Sheriff's Department, with the County Sheriff's Department, and the State Police, and they're all very well trained to deal with these types of situations, so we need to place our confidence there. We need to make sure that we're cooperative with them. Outside agencies may also respond and will take charge of the situation in some cases, such as FBI maybe, or maybe in the case of most often would be the state police taking charge of the situation. But officers have the primary objective, regardless of who they are, to confront the suspect and neutralize the threat. So they're going to be more concerned with that than anything else. So the police response, you got to remember that the law enforcement goal is to locate, contain, and stop the active shooter. And everyone in the building will be considered a suspect until cleared. When the team of officers makes contact with you, you need not run toward them, throw your arms out, try to hug them, shake their hand, or do anything like that. We need to be cooperative and follow their orders. Keep our hands visible, respond to their commands, and the officers will engage with fire anyone that's armed or moves on them in what could be called or perceived as an aggressive manner. So if you are near the suspects when the officer makes an entry, the best thing to do is drop as low as you can, stay there with your hands visible, and take the commands that come your way. Again, to continue, the initial response is not to treat the injured, but it's to neutralize the danger. So you'll need to explain this to others and attempt to calm them down. Once the shooter is contained, the officers will begin the treatment process and evacuation. They'll be looking for safe corridors, and they will establish these safe exits of exit, safe corridors of exit, and we need to remain in secure areas until we're instructed to move to other areas. You may be searched. You need to leave your personal belongings behind, and you will be escorted out of the building by law enforcement personnel. Some safety tips. Whether you're coming to class or working on campus, we need to take ownership of making sure that our own individual location is safe. Our classroom, our dorm room, our hallways, our offices, we need to make sure that they're as safe as possible. This is part of situational awareness. And we need to be aware of our surroundings. Take a look at the locations, know where the exits are, be familiar with the doorways, how the door swings, that type of thing. Report suspicious people on campus to campus security. That's the 444 number, and make sure that they are aware. Okay. 911 calls from cell phones, go to Whitley County Dispatch, and they will help you with anything that you need taken care of. We need to be knowledgeable that awareness, preparation, and rehearsal are key to being successful in these situations. Now, some closing thoughts. We can no longer predict the origin of the next threat. So it's difficult to say because we should not spend all of our time thinking about this type of thing, but we need to spend some time thinking about it. We need to study incidents of the past. Assailants in some of the recent incidents across the country were not students or employees. They're individuals who come in off the campus. And for that reason, we need to report anything that doesn't look quite right. And there is no obvious specific target, and the victims were unaware that they were targets until attacked. So we're not aware of these things, and usually it comes to us as quite a surprise. In other words, we need to just be aware, and we need to take campus safety and security very seriously. We're all responsible for that. Now, I have provided some of these to those who attended the live and in-person sessions. These are simply situational awareness cards, and I can make some of those available. If you'll contact Mr. Gilbert, he can get with me and I can make these available, but they provide us with information related to the violent intruder and what we should do, and some situational awareness tips. Now, the reason I like this is because the university publishes a emergency response manual. It's about 50 pages in length or more. That's all well and good, but you know, we don't want to start flipping through 50 pages when we have an incident close at hand. So it's nice to have this little wallet card. So I would encourage all of you to get it. Many of you already have it, but it can be obtained. And if you let Mr. Gilbert know, I will make sure that those are available to you to put in wallet or purse and have available at any time. Now, this would normally be the place where we'd have some questions and some discussion. In this recorded session, we can't do that, but again, my telephone number is available. Mr. Gilbert can get in touch with me. I would be more than glad to talk with any of you at any time about any of this particular information that we've talked about, and provide any answers that I might be able to provide. Again, the company I work with right now is Campus Safety Solutions, and there is the website and the phone number available for you. Again, you can get this from Mr. Gilbert, or you can just take it down yourself. And again, I'm available to talk with you. My contact information is available, and I'm always ready and willing to help. It's been my pleasure to put this recorded session together for you. I hope it's of some help. I hope it makes us a little more situationally aware of what can happen and what our response should be, because the main idea here is to provide protection for the most important people on our campus, and that's the students. We have responsibility to protect and provide a safe environment for our students. That's certainly what we want to do. So I hope this has been of some help. Again, contact me if you have any questions, and I hope that you have a great school year and much success in all that you do. Thank you for your attention.